Alright, welcome back to Chapter 3, the reference block. This is part 2 of the SketchUp for Engineers course. Now, one thing I do want to say is, in some of the videos, you might hear a slight little static sound. That's because my mic that I'm using is pretty sensitive and might have been picking up the harmonic interference from the laptop charger. I know that if I have my USB cable next to my mic with my phone to transfer pictures or something, it definitely picks up the static. So it's kind of faint, but hopefully in this video it's not there because I have the laptop unplugged. Or it'll pick up someone's cell phone every once in a while. Anyways, let's continue on. So right now, what we're going to be actually drawing is the reference block. So let me pull up that image for you real quick. Okay, so here is what the image looks like. This is the drawing. Now we're going to zoom in just a little bit so we can see what we're dealing with. Now, I do have this printed off as well, but I'm not going to be looking at that because that's an unfair advantage to you guys. So I'm going to be flipping back and forth just like our other one. So let's kind of see how we're going to attack it. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to draw this base plate first, actually in one solid part, this whole looking thing right here. And then just start cutting stuff off. So I'm going to draw a side profile, extrude it to the right, like the letter L, extrude it to the right, and then just start milling, in a sense, things away. So let's look down here. We know it's, I don't have units on this. Okay, I know it's not inches. 25 millimeters is roughly an inch, so I'm going to assume it's 25 millimeters. So luckily my template's millimeters, but if yours is not, go to Window, Model Info, and change yours to millimeters. So alright, let's look at the part again. Alright, so 25 by 145 by 90 by 36. So 25, 145, 90. I doubt I'll remember that. And I'm going to draw along the red axis. I like that axis. So, crap, I already forgot what it was. 145. Okay. So along the red axis at 145 millimeters, Control Shift E so that we can see. Then we're going to go up along the blue, 90, and then we're going to go up this direction along the red, 36. Okay, I'm going to leave it right there, hit L again. We're going to go up the blue, 25 units, and then we just need to go over until we reach here. So hover over that and go straight down, click there, click there. So now we have our profile. Now we just need to know how thick to extrude that. That extrusion is going to be 72 millimeters in thickness. So let's go ahead and pull that 72. Okay, so far so good. I like what we got. So let's start cutting away. Let's make this U shape right here. The base of that bottom half circle is going to be 50 with a diameter of 24, so a radius of 12. So a couple of different ways we can do this. It's going to be 24 in, so 24, 24, 24. Okay, perfect. So 50 up, 24. Alright, so tape measure. Grab this side, type in 24. Okay. Now we know that it's 24 wide, so 24. And we know that we need to go 50 up. That is the base of the circle. So one thing we could do right here, C for circle, make sure we have at least 48 sides, hit enter, and find, we know this is the midpoint, so we're going to draw along the red axis until right here. And then we can connect a circle just like that, then draw lines down from here up to there till they're tangent. just like so. Use the eraser tool and erase that, and we've got our profile. That's one way of doing it. The other way is with the arc tool. Make sure it's, when you hit A, check how many sides. So I'm going to put 48, and we can go from here to here along the red until it says half circle. And look at the bulge, it says 12 millimeters. So one way we could, if we could type in 12, it would do it. But I'm going to try something else. R12, so radius of 12. But what if I do capital R 5? Radius is too small. Okay, so I'm actually just going to do this right here, 15. I want to show you something. If we click on this, go up to Entity Info, and actually type in 12 and hit enter, it'll readjust it. So that is one way of doing it. So now we can take our lines, hit line again, connect it, and now we have this face. Now what we want to do is, remember, we just want to pull it down until we see that glassy finish and then let go. So now we have that connected. So if I erase that right there, notice that entire face, that surface disappears. So I'm going to use Control and just hide it. There we go, soften it a little bit. Or I could have used the soften feature over here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this real quick. Alright, just saved it. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's make this little milled section right here. So it's kind of a interesting way, kind of an interesting cut, but it's actually really simple in SketchUp. We're just going to actually draw a line from this point down, from this point over, and then just erase the things that we need. And so we have to make sure that our side profile will look this way when it's done, but we'll still have that angled surface. So we need to find where this point is. Looks like it's 50 millimeters back from this portion right here. So grab your tape measure, and we're going to move this line 50. Okay, so here's where the fun begins, and we're going to get into that intersection. We're going to draw a line. Okay, we're also going to draw a line from this intersection to right there, and then let me see something before I mess it up. I need to know, I can't see the back side. That's alright. Okay, then a line from here to there. That'll complete that surface, so if we want, we can just erase right there, and there it is. So we have that exact same milled surface now. So we're getting there. And if I turn camera to parallel projection, see that? Yeah, we're doing really well. Back to perspective. Okay, moving forward, let's do this little knockout here. It's 72 from the front, back, and it's 50, so 72, 50. Okay, so we want to go this way, 72. Okay, and then 50, I forget direction of 50 from here. We need to go 50. So now we're going to take our rectangle tool, complete that, and we need to extrude that up by a matter of 6 millimeters. Okay, so take the push-pull tool, which is P, lift it up 6 millimeters, and there we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'm going to do this face cutout, and I'm going to do that on my own because I want you guys, this is going to be the challenge, for you guys to figure it out, and then I'll show you how I did it after, or at least just tell you. So I'll give you a hint. Obviously just use this view and keep your symmetry. Okay, alright, I will be back. Okay, so I went ahead and did that, and there's what it looks like. I hope yours looks the same. So let me give you some hints if it doesn't. First thing I did was I used my guides, and I centered a guide this way, and then I rose a guide from the bottom up 48, and then I made my first circle of 12 millimeters radius. Remember, this is diameter. Then I punched it all the way through. Then I made a second circle above that, and the reason why I use the guides is because I can place both circles at the same point, concentric of each other, and made a 30 radius, 30 millimeters. Excuse me. And then the tricky part was making this rectangular block. To me, it looks like they're symmetrical, but they're actually not. So you drop a guide down 24, and then from this point right here, you drop a guide up 30 units. Alright, so let's continue on. Sorry, my phone rang, and I had to take care of that. Alright, bet. Okay, my phone is freaking out. Alright, perfect. Okay, so it's 30 units from the top of this to here. I always thought it was 30 units from the bottom, which actually it is. My bad. I looked at this line and saw that arrow. So it is 30 units from the bottom up to here, and 24 down to here. So, anyway, that's how I did it, and then you just draw a rectangular box around the guides, and then erase what you don't need, and then you push it back, and this is what it's going to look like. So, lo and behold, nice and neat. Okay, the last thing we need to do is make this nifty little hole that's at a 35-degree angle. So how do we do this? Alright, how would we do it in the real world? Well, we would have a drill press with a drill bit going up and down. What this part would be rotated at 35, or the drill press would be rotated at 35. Actually, drill press would never be rotated at 35, just the part, and then pushed through. I mean, you could rotate the drill press, but doesn't matter. Anyways, something is rotated at 35 degrees, so we're 35 off of the top. So let's and then a drill bit came through, but SketchUp doesn't have drill bits, so what do? Well, we make one. So what we need to do is look at the diameter. It's an 8 millimeter diameter, so it needs to be 4 millimeter radius. So grab your circle tool. First, I need my guides. Okay, circle. 4 millimeter radius. Grab your pull tool and make this, I don't know, 150 millimeters. Okay, triple click it, right click, make a component, call it drill bit. Okay, now click on it. What does it say? It says it's a solid. This is not a solid yet, it just says it's a face. Triple click, right click, make component, call it block. Okay, what does it say? It says it's a solid. So we're going to do a few things that are interesting here. We're going to actually do this. First we need to position it. We are positioned 20 this way and 12, so 20 and 12. So let's go this way, hit tape measure. We need to go 20 over, and we need to go 12 down. Let's double check. 20, 12, correct. Okay, our goal is to move this and position it on to there. Okay, so the best way to do that is move tool. We need to find the center of our part. It's right there, center in drill bit. So I'm going to click that. I'm just going to move till right about there, and I'm going to let go. Now I'm going to click on that same center, hit the up arrow, bring it down until it's on the face. Okay, now I'm going to click on the center again. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get. There it is. And now we're going to move till it snaps to the intersection right there. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do is click anywhere on it, click the up arrow, and just move it up a little bit. We can turn on X-ray to kind of see what's going on. I'm just going to leave it right there. Okay. Now we need to rotate this object 35 degrees from here. So 35 from 90 is 55, I think. Okay, so we just need to rotate this. I think it's 55 degrees. So it's hard to rotate because we don't know which face it's on, but we want the red face, and then we're going to click, and remember we want it to be rotated off of there. So then we're going to rotate 55, and that should be right where we want it. Now, was that a good idea to do? I don't know, because the next part is going to be tricky. Trying to get this positioned, the center of the inside, right to the center of this, because we're going to need to move, hit the up arrow, move it down until it's somehow in the center. And that could be a little tricky. But if we kind of look, we can kind of see that we've got a little bit of a, well, you can't see with the X-ray on, but a little bit of an elliptical shape going on, and like that. So we're getting closer. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is I Control Z all the way back to this position. Okay, now we want to turn on X-ray so we can see our guideline right here. I'm going to grab our rotate tool, and we're going to come in here and make sure our part is still selected. Grab the rotate tool, see where it says intersection. Now hit the right arrow key. That's going to force us to rotate the object about its center point right there. Now it's off of this line, so we're going to rotate down 55 degrees, which leaves us 35 up. Okay, there we go. Now everything should be centered, and now you have this piece sticking out, our drill bit. Okay, it's exactly what we want. So now what do we do? Well, this is where it gets a little fun. I'm going to explode. We're going to do this two different ways. This is the old school way. I'm going to explode this. Okay, keep it selected, edit, cut. Now double click inside this, go to edit, paste in place. Just drag over like that, right click, intersect faces with context, and you'll see that something has changed. There's all of a sudden these lines right there, but not right here. We need to grab all of it like that. Now we can right click and go intersect faces with context. Okay, so now that surface is showing up. So what does that mean? So it means we can actually just go like this. It's having a hard time. We can just start deleting things. Did I accidentally delete? Okay, I thought I deleted the face right there. And it leaves these little faces, but if you turn on X-ray, you'll see a tube looking shape. All we have to do now, click the face, boom, boom, and there we go. We have a hole. And let's get rid of that one. Right. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't want to work, but it is not. Oh, because it's inside. There we go. Okay. That was frustrating. And there we go. The part is actually 100% finished now. And that is how you draw. If we click on it, look, it still says solid. That is how you drill a hole at an angle. Alright, let's go back. Alright, I just Control Z'd all the way to the back to the spot where we actually have a drill bit component. Okay, now we're going to make this a little bit faster. We're going to use something called Solid Tools. If you right click somewhere on here, just make sure that you have either Nroth Solid Tools selected or the plain old Solid Tools. So I'm going to try Nroth Solid Tools. I don't know if it's going to work because the part might be too small, but I'm going to try it. So with Nroth, we're looking for one called Trim or Subtract. Now Subtract will delete this entire drill bit and leave the hole. Trim will leave us the drill bit and create the hole. So why do I like Nroth better? Because when you use it, it leaves your final piece as a component, while this one leaves it as a group. And it comes in handy because if you scale, remember components, what you do to one component does to the other. So you can make one component really ginormous. This is called the Dave method, where we actually have this part, and we use the scale tool and we uniformly scale it 1,000 times bigger. Okay, now remember, it's a component, so when we use Solid Tools and drill that hole, it's going to happen on that smaller one as well. So, but let's try it without using the Dave method and see what happens. Okay, so first thing we need to do is I'm going to use trim. I can't remember if it's this from that or this from that. So I'm going to start with big, go to small. It's probably going to say output not a solid. Yes, something went wrong, output's not a solid. However, just for the curiosity, I think it worked. Okay. So it left that, so we can just trim that. When we run Solid Inspector on it, it's going to say, hey, there's 48 internal faces. If we hit Fix All, it says everything is shiny, but if we hit X-ray again, it got rid of the inside. So we can scale it up and try it, but let's try using the built-in Solid Tools from SketchUp. Now this one is opposite. It goes this one from that one. Okay, now notice it shows difference right here. Okay, I'm going to hide this. Okay, and it actually made the hole. But notice it's a group. And it is a solid, and just to verify, no errors, everything is shiny. So, sometimes this one works better than the other, but the only thing is, it's not, I can't copy the component and do it multiple times, so pick and choose, I guess. But let's try using the Dave method. So, once again, let's go back to right here. I'm going to highlight everything. Move tool, I'm going to control copy along this red axis, right arrow, I'm going to force it along here. Okay. Now I'm going to use the scale tool, and since we're in millimeters, 1,000 would just be a meter. I don't know, let's do 10,000. Uniform scale about opposite point. So 10, 1, 2, 3. Boom, 10,000. Okay. Now what we can do is, if we multiplied by 10,000, when we scale it back down, we can divide by 0.00001. Just do it by 10,000ths instead of 10,000, and it will take you back to the exact same size. Or you can use the tape measure tool and measure this distance to this distance, type in the actual dimension, hit enter, and it will say, do you want to resize model? So there's multiple ways we can get back. But this Dave method seems to be the fastest. Just make a copy of the component, do your work, delete the bigger copy, and then your component should be good to go. So let's take our trim this from that, let it think, takes a minute. Okay, I think it's done. Is it done thinking? I think so. Okay, let's see. Didn't say anything was wrong, so let's go ahead and hide that one. And look, it made it through. So let's go ahead and hide the larger one. Control Shift E. Uh-oh. Where did everything go? Okay. Let's unhide this. Let's unhide that. Okay, and you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm just going to delete them. So, okay, when you have too big of geometry and you hide it, I forgot about this, it sometimes can block, even though it's hidden, it can sometimes block this, the smaller stuff. Okay, now we look at it and we're like, okay, nothing happened. Everything's still there. Well, notice you can see your little mark right there. Go ahead and hide that. And look, there it is. See that? Perfect. So that's how you use solid tools. See how easy that was? We just learned so many ways to, when we're dealing with a tiny face issue, to scale it by 10,000, do our work, and then rescale it by 10,000ths to get back to our original, or use from chapter 1, I think it was chapter 1, where we took the tape measure tool, held control, clicked here, typed in 36 whatever, and hit enter, and it says, do you want to resize the entire model? And you hit yes. There's that way to scale it down. Or using the Dave method, where we make a copy of the component, scale it up by 10,000, do our dirty work, delete it, and then we have this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my guides. Okay, so we have that part. Very simple to do. Everything is perfect. Now we can make our scenes, which I'm going to let you do. I've probably done that. I've done that twice now, but we're going to be doing it a third and fourth time upcoming. So I know this video was half an hour long. Sorry about that, but a lot of information in this video. And it turned out great. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for, I think this is the end of chapter 3. So stay tuned for chapter 4.